When I hear this, I don't know, there's something in me, but you have to remember, I come from the perspective where I very seldomly have been single. And that's mainly because I always seem to attract a guy, but I think that's more so just because I'm always outside. I'm always doing something. I'm always out, you know, even if it's not the bars, it's like, you know, the gym, a jazz club, a class, painting, you know. And when you circulate your energy like that, you always tend to attract. So when I hear you say this, my biggest concern is don't get too comfortable doing things by yourself and being single. Because what I've noticed, I have an older cousin who was like this and beautiful, beautiful, but she had a really hard time bringing someone in. And I don't know, it might have been other stuff going on, but in my head when I watched her, because she did a phenomenal job, you know, achieving her own goals, her career, her this, that, and the other. But there was something, and I say this with love, in her that was miserable and sad and lonely. And I could feel it. Like, I was like, girl, you need a man. Like, you did all this independent. I'm focused on myself. I'm about my, I don't need, like, yes, but why can't you do that with somebody? See, that's the part about partnership I think a lot of you guys are not understanding. A good partner does not deter you from focusing on yourself and your goals. A good partner celebrates you and encourages you, and if anything is in your backseat being like, you doing too much. You need to come back home to yourself. You just a little all over the place. You're acting out of character. That is what a good partner is. So when I hear people say this, because I've been hearing this a lot, where a lot of people are kind of like, you know, I'm just, you know, focused on myself, my goals, my priorities. Yes, do that, but you have to learn how to do that with somebody. See, I feel like, and this is just me speaking from my perspective, I'm open to feedback. I feel like when you do that for so long, and I'm not saying like a year or two to get your get back. I mean, I say like a year, but like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, six, I feel like something happens. One, you get comfortable being alone. Two, which is no, there's nothing wrong with that. Two, you don't know how to be with other people. Three, you start expecting too much from a real human being because you've achieved so much, you've done so much, you work so hard. Now, baby, remember, a lot of people are not up there, especially for us gay black men. A lot of us are not up there. We are still kind of like, you know, outside. You know, we're not really achieving too much career wise, at least from my perspective. Like, we're doing stuff, but we're not like, you know, there's not a whole bunch of doctors or gay doctors. From my perspective, again, I'm just talking about the majority. I know there are some out there, but I just want you to think about when you get up there, what your choices are going to be and why would they choose you? Because, perfect example, a lot of men, especially gay black men, especially the more masculine presenting ones, because I feel like I attract a lot more feminine ones because I'm talking about boys and, you know, we all learn our emotions and whatnot. Um, they like to have their cake and eat it too. I have not met too many men that are just like still wanting monogamy. I still just want one person. So I just feel like I'm gonna wrap this up. Yes, pour into yourself, but be cognizant of what you are walking into. I feel like when you stop learning how to do partnership with someone, have someone in your life, when you're not in the practice of doing that, it gets harder to do that as you get older and as you age. And I feel like that is a choice that you're gonna have to make. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having high expectations, wanting someone to meet you where you're at, but you have to be practical about how many of us, especially gay black men, are really gonna be able to meet you where you're at. Some of y'all, and I love y'all to death, you have astronomically large standards. There's nothing wrong with having standards, but when with those standards comes the acknowledgement of I may never find this. I might not find that in this lifetime. As long as you are okay with that, go right ahead. But in my opinion, from my experience, I attract people that support me. I don't lose myself in relationship, and that takes practice, which is why when you say something like I want to focus on myself, focus on my goals, you need to learn how to do that with a partner. Once you get and accomplish all those goals, again, trying to bring somebody into that, it's going to be you're still going to have to start from zero about learning how to be in a partnership, learning how to balance things out. And I, in my experience, two heads are better than one. But you have to choose that other head wisely. You have to be able to see, like, I see potential in this person. I see us growing together. I like how they motivate me. I like their vision. I like their goals, which is, I talk about all of that where I'm like, you have to have a plan about where you want to go so that when you meet somebody, when you're out, because even though you're working on your goals, you can still attract men while you're out minding your own business. But when you attract them, how do you know they are a good fit for you? How do you know that they will be a good partner? And also, not getting too on the other end of perfection, because as someone that has high standards and is a perfectionist, I have to remind myself that my partner is human. He's gonna fuck up. But as long as I still feel that he loves me, and as long as I feel we're still going after our goals, he's going after his goals, I can forgive him. That is another part of love that, I'm not trying to be rude, a lot of y'all haven't even gotten there yet. The lack of forgiveness the ability to forgive that you have to possess to really be like, I love this person. I'm not talking about them harming you or doing anything like that. Like that. There's nuance to this conversation, obviously. But to be able to say, I have enough of love for you to forgive you, and let's dust ourselves off and keep going. That takes practice. It doesn't happen overnight. And I personally believe the further away you get from that, the smaller your pool gets, and the harder it is for you to learn how to dance with somebody. And then also, the more rare that you're gonna be able to find someone. I don't know. I guess, again, I'm uneducated. If you guys know something different, please let me know. This is more of a conversation. This isn't me telling you what to do. But yeah, I don't hear too many stories of people climbing all the way up there. Like, I mean, we can take black women, for example. They're all the way up there, especially because they're like, oh, there's no black men up here. Yeah. Did you not look at the demographics before you, as you was climbing that ladder, climbing those goals? Did you not look up there and be like, well, it's getting less and less of the men that I'm attracted to, the less of the men that are my type. And then a lot of y'all still hell bent on y'all type. But I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna let this go. But just take that into consideration. Yes, pour into yourself. Yes, focus on your goals. But also think about taking somebody up there with you. Not saying you have to stop everything you're doing and focus on dating. But when people are attracted to you, because remember, we are attractive, we attract people with our light. Don't negate dating somebody because you're so laser focused on your goals. That's just my little 2 cents. Obviously, we can have a conversation about it. I'm not saying I'm completely right, but what I've seen, what I've heard, what I have experienced, yeah, it don't get no easier the more goals that you achieve.